Let me bang.
I do let you bang. Hey,
let me bang you, man.
I let you bang. I let you bang.
Greetings, nerds and virgins.
Go for Jesus. No forget Jesus, people.
And I'm not surprised, motherfucker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time once again for your favorite mixed martial arts podcast. Recording out of Los Angeles, California, it's MMA Roasted with Adam Hunter.
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
What's up, people? Welcome to a brand new MMA Roasted Podcast. Me, Adam Hunter, here with Bill Dawes. Obviously taking this very seriously, doing the show from a road trip. I don't know where he's going, but we got a great show. We got Eryk Anders is on the show, who I thought got robbed. I thought he won the fight. Actually, kind of pissed about the whole thing. And then also Sam Hughes, who was 0-3 in the UFC, and then now has won her last two fights. So we got to talk about that because that's pretty awesome and amazing, and also, you know, inspirational. And I'm here with Bill Dawes, who are you going hunting? Like, well, it's like, what is going on? You have a camouflage LA hat, which is like, you couldn't even be more different. So
I know there's nothing more LA than a camouflage LA Dodgers hat. I'll take it off so I feel less douchey. Now I just have my Marty McFly vest on.
yes. Where are you up to?
I'm in Austin, so I'm driving by. I'm just driving to get Wi-Fi. I'm a little late. My car died, so I had to wait for the, you know, all that shit. And I'm not a man, so I can't jump it myself.
Got it. Is anybody in the car with you?
No.
Okay, cool. So I'm here. Actually, I was supposed to, you know, my daughter who has been sick, but she's better. She's had a cough, and I went, you know, to and from the doctor, this and that. And my wife had COVID last week, so it was just one of those situations. But now she's better too. But 3 kids in her school have COVID, which they told us, and then you can't take her to school unless she had to get a rapid test saying she's negative. So yeah. I took her to school and then got like thrown into the principal's office with my daughter, saying she couldn't go into the classroom. And then of course, anyway, so she's home with me till we get the test back. But you know, it is what it is. I don't even want her. If there's 3 kids that had COVID, I don't even want her in that school situation.
That's like saying you had 3 kids in school who had a cold.
Right.
I'm not saying they're the same thing, but at that age, they're kind of the same thing.
Dude,
right?
I can't wait for all this to be over. I just can't wait for it all to be over. It just feels like the last couple of years have been like a dream. It's like, you know, like, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's been some of the best moments of my life. I got to spend so much time with my kid and my family. And it also, you know, huge reflection. I shot 3 comedy specials and I'm working on a 4th coming out.
Yeah, you had a pretty good pandemic, Adam.
Yeah, no, I'm not complaining. But it's just annoying. Like that, like one test isn't good. This test is good. This is not. It's just, you know, it's crazy. It's just madness. But I'm actually feeling really good because I wrote a bunch of new jokes. I don't know how you feel, but if I write like 10, 20 new jokes and I do them, and even if like 7 work, I'm just in a better space in my life. I just feel happier. And I did the Dime Bar on Tuesday, and I did all these new jokes, and fucking a lot of them worked, which was awesome, because like my biggest fear is that I think at every level that you can't write new jokes anymore. That you're just, you know, so excited.
Or you already wrote your best jokes. You already wrote your best jokes, and now it's just you're gonna write like shitty jokes for the rest of your life. Yeah,
like your best jokes are behind you, and that's always a fear. But and also sometimes it just takes, you know, that's the problem with, let's say, cancel culture, is that people don't want you to like fail on you write 10 jokes and 3 work. Well, I mean, 7 don't. And for whatever reason, they don't work, but people don't want to sit through the failure. They don't, no, you have to just, you know, you have to hit a home run every time. Otherwise we're going to cut you. And guess what? There's no more baseball in that situation. So, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I
feel like you're good. If a joke doesn't work, you're like, cool, next joke. That joke didn't work. Fuck it. You know what I mean?
But one of the jokes I wrote about, like, which I'll just explain the joke, is about how, I don't mean, I'll try this even gonna. So I talked about how, a couple things. Number one, about how my wife and I are in separate rooms because of COVID, and I called the doctor and I'm like, how can we prolong this? and then, you know, even with like the whole school shooting, I'm like, you never see a female school shooter because women don't want to end your life. They just want to ruin it. So I think
that's good. That's almost like a t-shirt.
A t-shirt. And then I talked about how Sports Illustrated, Victoria's Secret now, they have a Down syndrome model. You know that? They have a model with Down syndrome.
I heard about that, yeah.
In their catalog, which, you know, I'm all for like inclusion and everything. And, great. But like when I was a teenager, I used to like masturbate to Victoria's Secret catalogs. Like, you know, and I would feel guilty then. I mean, I can't imagine how guilty kids must feel now. Like what do you do? Like you get to that page, I mean, obviously you can't do it, but then you feel bad because you're like, well, I'm not being inclusive. You know, you have to include people. It's like triple the guilt here. So that people have been like covering their faces laughing on that one. So
those are the best though, right?
Those are the best. That was when I used to watch Dave Attell back in the day. And he would get the kind of laughter. Dave Attell, people, I don't know, they don't realize how funny he is, or it still is, but how he was. There was a brief moment where every comic wanted to be Dave Attell. Every
100%.
comic,
every East Coast comic for sure. They all sounded like him.
He would go out there and just murder. I mean, murder. And don't get me wrong, I'm not sure he was I used to live in New York City. I walk into a bar at 2 p.m. to go to use the bathroom, and he would be there. I don't think he was a very happy human being back then. I think he's since, been, but.
Oh, he's sober now, right?
Yeah, he's sober now. But there was a time where he would just murder. I mean, like it was crazy. And I don't think he gets his like just due. Because you don't hear about him that much anymore, but maybe because he came along before the whole TikTok and social media and this and that. But Dave Attell, man, like, and he just had a certain people are, oh, that's a Dave Attell joke. That's a Dave. Oh, that's a I just wrote a Dave Attell joke. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's when you can, have your own.
No, there's a time I remember when like Jay Oakerson was coming up, and Jay's a great comic. Don't get me wrong, but like there's a good 5 years where he was just doing like Dave Attell. He would do the same thing. You had Dave Attell like. Joe, now, blah, blah, blah. You know, he's going to go now. Rich Metzger, Jay Oker said they were all
Kurt Metzger.
This weird David Tell thing.
Yeah. And then
Kurt Metzger, yeah.
I'm trying to write a joke about the whole. Have you seen the new Calvin Klein ad? It's a pregnant.
The new what?
The new Calvin Klein ad.
Oh God. Yeah.
It's a pregnant man, right? And he's like with his girlfriend. And like, who is this really for? You know, like, I mean, I understand why. I don't know if I understand. Like, I've never put on Calvin Klein cologne and be like, hope I get knocked up tonight. You know, like my ovaries are hurting. Like, who is this for? Like, what is going on here? Like, what is going on? What do you think of the whole Amber Heard situation?
I mean, it's interesting because on one hand, people are saying it's a death knell for me too. But on the other, it just means I was going to actually tweet this. I was like, it's going to be a lot harder. They say a lot harder for crazy women to be whatever acknowledged now, or it's going to be harder for crazy women. It's not going to be harder for regular women. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm not celebrating it. It's kind of like when men are celebrating this. It's like kind of like when Chris Rock was doing the whole joke about black people celebrating OJ. They're like, we did it, we won. He's like, I didn't get any OJ check in the mail. Like men are celebrating this, and I'm like, what are we celebrating? I
think it's like men are celebrating. Either the men who've been Me Too, they're like, oh, now people may not believe it. What was said about me by these 47 women in sworn affidavits.
Yeah.
Or they think like, if anything comes out in the future, I'll be like, Your Honor, this is Amber Heard Part 2.
Right. I guess maybe they are celebrating it. I mean, he definitely didn't. I don't know. Who knows what really happened? You know, who knows? I still can't believe they're married 15 months. Like, that's the whole thing. All this shit happened in 15 months. And it also like I have this, you always think that when you get to a certain amount of wealth and that you're just happy, you're happy.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wish I was Johnny Depp. And you're like, man, like the pictures of him just like drunk or coked up or in the corner, miserable. You're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
and he marries like the hottest woman on the planet.
Yeah. You're like, this guy has the life. And then you're like, whoa. But she definitely, I could tell that she obviously was, when she was like, I didn't punch you, I hit you. You're like, whoa, this chick is out of her mind. She's out of her mind, but he's also, I don't think, innocent in a lot of this and yada, yada,
Of course
yada.
not.
So,
I mean, nobody comes out looking good.
yeah. And then my last bit I wrote, I go how I was driving with my kid in the car. And there was this guy with tattoos, this big guy that kept honking at me. He's like, honk, 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 honk. And I'm like, great, this guy wants trouble, right? So he pulled up next to me and he's like, yo, you got your daughter's iPad on top of the car, the pink iPad. And I was like, wow, like, I can't believe I just judged this. Like, I'm such an idiot. And then he goes, give it to me. So, but dude, that's a clean one. When I can write a clean joke, a clean banger, it's like worth like 10.
Oh, dude.
It's the best. It's like, you know.
If you can do a clean, personal joke,
yeah,
it's personal, clean, and it kills, there's nothing better.
Nothing better. Nothing better for me, at least. So anyway, but yeah, I was thinking about, are you still touring with Jeremy Piven?
Speaking of, he's shooting a lot of stuff right now.
Got
so
it.
I don't know. I think we have a date. We have a date lined up in another month or something.
One of the funniest, man. I never had a story on me and Jeremy. We did a gig together in Iowa. When he first started doing comedy, I was booking him everywhere. Like I got him his first like 10 headlining gigs, and we were working together and working on his stuff. And first of all, I couldn't believe how good. Like sometimes I would give him notes and he would just get it like boom, 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 boom. But his assistant would like book us on these airplanes, and I didn't realize in certain airports, if you're a celebrity, they'll pick you up and drive you to whatever terminal you want to go to. Like in like a full-on SUV, like government, car, like they take care of you. So they don't want celebrities having to go through the airport, right? And that's if like you call ahead and you plan
and they also
go on.
Yeah, and they also like before the military, before pregnant women, before priests. If you're a celebrity, you can get on the plane first. People don't know that. Oh,
so anyway, so me and Jeremy didn't know that my real name was Adam Greenberg, right? So we get off and we had a connected flight from I don't know, we were going to Iowa. We had to connect in I don't know where we were. Let's say wherever we were. Let's say Colorado or something. And he's in the first class and I'm in coach. And the guy's holding the sign saying Adam Greenberg, right? Because they don't want to say Jeremy Piven because then everyone know. So Jerry doesn't know that's my name. So everybody has to walk. So he walks out with all his stuff and this and that. And it's like, 500 terminals. It's like a huge, maybe Houston. I mean, it was like a huge airport. And then I go, Adam Greenberg, that's me. And he goes, oh, are you with Jeremy Piven? I go, yeah. Oh, and then we couldn't find him. He'd already he was so far ahead of us that he was gone. And he's like, all right, I guess I'll drive you. So the guy drove me and Jeremy had to take and then he was so annoyed. He's like, why didn't you tell me? I'm like, I didn't even know this thing existed. I had no idea that you could get on that was a thing. And he's like, Adam Greenberg sounds like someone I should know. So it's like, dude, I was laughing so hard. Dude, there were so many funny situations like that. Oh God. There was did I ever tell you that Andrew?
People talk about white privilege. It's rich privilege, man. I'm telling you, dude.
Oh yeah,
rich privilege is way better white privilege
than any privilege. Rich privilege is 100%. If you, yeah, of course. Rich privilege is a whole different situation. But yeah, then there was a situation with Jeremy where did I ever tell you the whole Andrea story with him? Andrea. So Andrea, Andrea, she was dating a guy that was the head of Sly Stallone shop or something. He's showing all Sylvester Stallone stuff, all the Rocky stuff. You know that shirt I wear that has Rambo as mugshot. So Jeremy's like, I like that shirt. I'm like, oh, okay. Andrea got it for me from her boyfriend. He's like, I would like to get it, right? So I asked Andrea, I'm like, hey, can you get Jeremy a thing? She's like, oh, I'll ask my boyfriend. So first she goes, my boyfriend loves Jeremy. So she'll give him 200 shirts or something, but he's got to plug it on his Instagram or something, right? So I was like, Jeremy, they want to give you 200 shirts, but you have to post about it. He's like, I don't want 200 shirts. I want one fucking shirt. So then I go back and I'm like, yeah, can you give him the one shirt and they'll post it? She's like, okay, well, he has a script for him.
Oh God! Of
And he
course.
he wants him to buy into a movie. So then
Not surprising, dude.
She hits him up and she's like, "Hey, do you want to invest in my boyfriend's movie?" And he's like, "All I wanted was a fucking shirt, right?" So then like, I just want one shirt. So then Jeremy's at like Whole Foods and he was like dating a girl or something, and he runs into Andrea. And he was like talking to another girl, but like the girl he was dating, they weren't together. They were just like talking. It was one of the things they just started talking or something. And then Andrea knew both of them. So then Andrea comes up to him and say, "Hey, Jeremy, like that shirt," and starts talking about the shirt while he's talking. And anyways, then she goes back and like tells the other girl, Jeremy was talking to some girl in Whole Foods. So then he gets like dumped. He gets like dumped over the fucking shirt. Like all he wanted was like,
oh my God,
Rambo shirt. And now he's investing in movies. He gets broken up with. Dude, he told me the story. I was literally fucking crying. Like it was the way he, because he's one of those guys. He kind of is like a Larry David, situation where he gets himself into these situations where you're just like,
yeah, it's so true.
God, how do I get out of it? So I'm waiting for this girl to come on the thing. I hope she gets it. So come on, Sam, you coming on? Right. So have you been watching the fight? You watch the fights this weekend?
I'm a piece of shit. I did that this weekend.
Well, last weekend there were no fights, but so you're not a piece of shit. Number one, but there are fights. Okay. First of all, Paddy Pimlin. You know Paddy Pimlin?
I love him.
He's a guy from England. He got up to 205 pounds. Now he's trying to get back down to 155.
He went to 205?
Like he didn't like fight at 205. He's got fat. Like he's just he went to San Diego and now he has to lose 50 pounds.
He's been partying too much.
And he's fighting Jordan Leavitt. He's the guy, the monkey king who like twerks after he fights and like starts humping the ground. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, of course.
So they're fighting in England, which, by the way, he says if he beats Paddy, he's going to get arrested for his celebration. I don't know what he plans on doing, but I guess. Anyway, so TJ Dillashaw said that, this guy's loving diabetes. He'll never be UFC champion with his work ethic about Paddy, saying that, man, I feel Paddy writes back, "Is this fella messing?" TJ Dillashaw used to sell T-shirts with his fat face on it, saying "Fat Tyler" when he came out of camp. And don't forget your own past, you sausage. Cheating little juice head would never have won a belt without them. Steroids, you fucking mushroom. I like how you call them you sausage and a mushroom. Like,
he's mixing food groups, yeah.
Yes. Someone who's not a sausage or a mushroom is
what goes good on a pizza is
this girl, Sam Hughes, on a 3-fight winning streak, looking like a savage. Got to stop it, the last one. And all your fights, you're the underdog. Everyone, yes. They all count you out. They're like, this girl's going to lose. And your last 3, you have not lost. You've been coming out like a savage. What's going on, Sam? How are you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling amazing. I'm at just an amazing team with Coach Safe and Coach Charles. And man, they've done wonders for my mindset, for just me changing my skill set base and just being more violent. So I attribute, the change in camps to that.
Now, is your old camp kind of salty though? Because you keep, I was worried that when someone thanks their new camp, is it a situation where your old camp's like, "Hey, fuck that. What about, have you gotten your old camp?"
I'll be honest with you. I have not talked to my old coach since I left. So I don't know what they're thinking, but I'm sure he's a little salty. He's, it probably comes with the territory.
True, but you were 0-3 in the UFC with them, and now you're 2-0. So,
exactly.
Is it the caliber of training partners? Is that what the diet? What are they? What's the difference?
Yeah, I think it is definitely just a higher level of training partners. And just, man, I don't know if you've ever been to Fortis, but if you've like watched our practices, but it's just a different kind of level. It's the mindset and like just the level that coach holds all of us to. It's such an amazing thing. So for me, I had not a lot of pressure, but just a little bit of more pressure that I put on myself to like prove it to like, hey, I deserve to be in this training room and be at Fortis. And I just wanted to make my training partners proud. Because I mean, if you talk to Safe, he does not accept losing at all. So I was like, I don't want to come to Fortis and, you know, be an L on his record. That's not what I want. So all I want to do is go the rest of this year undefeated and just, you know, kind of change and show that, you know, I deserve to be there. And, you know, I'm working my way to top 15.
Well, one of your training partners I love, this girl, Jinyu Frey, by the way, who, Bill, she's like a beautiful girl. Not that you're not beautiful, Sam, both of you, you know, very beautiful women. This girl's like half Korean, and she's also like an aero tech, I don't know what, chemical engineer or something. What does she do? A scientist?
Yeah, I think she's in radiology, like, but she's smart as shit. You're right. She's super pretty, super athletic. Like, she's got all, you know, she checks all those boxes. Jen's an awesome training partner. I love going and training with her every single day. It's amazing. And she fights at the end of the month, this month.
She's fighting Vanessa Demopoulos, who used to be a former stripper. And she's very proud of it. She's not even like, so like the stripper versus the fucking radiologist.
Strippers are always proud of it once they become famous for something else.
Yeah.
You know
right. And you know what's funny is we always give Jen so much shit because it seems to be like she always fights like these either like OnlyFans or the strippers or so it's like why is she getting these girls? But it's super funny.
The girl has a book out called The Stripper Bible. Like literally has a book out.
Have you read it?
No. It's on my tabletop.
I just listened to the audiobook of it.
Yeah. But I mean, but that was a girl.
There's nothing but pictures.
It was a girl you fought, and you were winning. You were winning that fight against her, and then you just got caught with a triangle, right?
Yeah, an inverted triangle. So, you know, I was watching out for the leg locks because we were in like a weird position, but I was up. I was winning 4 rounds to 3 in, you know, going into that 4th round because there was a 10-8 round. She had an illegal up kick. So I had a 10-9, 10-8, and then 10-9 round. So going into the 4th, it was like I could have coasted, you know, 4th and 5th round and then had the LFA belt in my grasp. But you know, I wanted to take some risks and I wanted to show, you know, kind of showcase like an entertaining fight and kind of went the other way, but that's okay.
So let me ask you about that. When the triangle was first put on you, did you feel danger?
My daughter told me that her cartoon paused. So you guys talk amongst yourself. Keep going.
Okay, great. You know, we're talking jiu-jitsu, which is what I love. So, because, you know, inverted, I got you saying, you're like, well, it wasn't a triangle because I wasn't just sitting there in guard with, you know, it was inverted,
exactly.
So from a trickier position, right, where you were defending your leg lock. But when she first set it up, did you feel in danger right away, or were you like? Because usually when people set up the triangle, the first reaction is like, okay, I'll just break it, or I'll get out of it. Or how quickly did it come on? Oh no, you're breaking up.
Yep, I know it. Sorry, say that again. Are you there?
Yeah, I did. I was just curious, like how quickly did that triangle come on? Because inverted triangle is a tricky thing to get on a pro, obviously.
Yeah, it is super tricky. And it came on really fast. Honestly, we were in such a weird position that in my mind, I was okay because I was a little bit postured and I wasn't like, there was nothing going on as far as the neck goes. But I thought she was going to reach down and go for like, you know, a knee bar or a heel hook or something like that. That was because I was in that position. And I was like, that was what my mind was going to. So I was like,
so
okay,
you dropped your heads down. You dropped your hands down to get her legs.
Yeah, I was like, okay, protect your legs. And then she shot up and then just closed it. And I felt the curtains going and I was like, fuck it, just kill me. I don't care. You know, I was like, I'm not going to tap.
So you
didn't tap? You went out?
Yeah, I was out cold. I was like, I'm not going to tap.
Now it says you're only a blue belt. Is this true?
No, I don't know why it said that. Okay, so 2 things that kind of pissed me off my last fight. One, they said I was from Everett, Washington, which is not true. Like, I lived there, but and I trained there for like 5 years. But Dallas is home, training out of Fortis. And then 2, they said I was a blue belt, but I'm a purple belt.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was like, I never understood how people in the UFC are blue belts unless they just don't do any gi at all.
Right.
Yeah.
And they don't get. Now, you're from Iowa, right? So I assumed you were a wrestler. I'm like, oh, she's a wrestler, Iowa. And the way you fight is like you go for that, like you're a grinder. You know, it seems like your strength is in your grappling, your takedown, but you didn't wrestle. How the fuck are you from Iowa with no wrestling?
My cousin who lives in Iowa, he wrestled. He was like this champ. He was a crazy 115er in Iowa, but he just graduated. So I've got family that wrestles, but I never wrestled. I always wanted to. I tried out for the wrestling team in high school, and they said, and I was living in South Carolina at the time, so they said no, I wasn't able to do it. I tried out for the football team, and I wasn't able to do it. So I ran track.
Wait, first of all, I coach wrestling. I've coached wrestling for 15 years. I started high school. There's never in the history of wrestling that anyone got cut from the wrestling team. Like, you're on the team. Like, it's literally the sport that anyone could make.
They said no girls. At my high school, they said no girls. Yep.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Well, that wasn't your cut. You were barred. There's a difference.
Yeah.
But that's also bullshit because you could have went to like fought that, right? I mean, I could have. I went to, let's see, when did I go to 2006 to 2010 in South Carolina. So I don't know. It was weird. It seemed like the coach did not want girls in the wrestling room at all. So I was like, all right, fine. I'll just do track and cross country and that'll be good. And you did track in college. You were like a state champion track, right? I did. Yep. I was a state champion. And then I think I still have one of the records at my undergraduate degree at Wofford College. What event? The 10,000, 5,000 and the steeplechase. So I think I still have the steeplechase record.
Holy shit. Wow. I don't even know what the fuck that is.
Yeah. Look it up. It's a crazy race. Like people are eating shit, like going into water pits. It's really fun to watch because it's a little less than 2 miles. And there's 8 barriers around the track. And then there's a big water pit too. So you have to jump on the barrier and then over the water pit. So the goal is to only have 1 foot wet the whole entire race because it kind of slows you down and you don't really want to be in the water too much. But you know, it sounds like a good event for like people trying to sneak into the country. Sounds like go right to those. And I'm half Mexican, so it kind of works out. Maybe I'm good at it. 100%. I figure you would thrive in that. And then you went to college for sports management. What a bullshit major that is, right? I mean, is that even a real major? Okay, so that was my master's. In all fairness, I got a double major in accounting and finance, and then I got my master's in sports management. So it was only half bullshit, I guess. Right. Now, I mean, what do you study there? Like how to be an agent? Yeah, basically. So that was, so all the research that I did prior to that, I wanted to be a Division I college track coach. Like that's what I really wanted to do. But the thing that kind of detoured me away from that is I love to compete. And like, I was a little bit mad at myself whenever I was coaching these girls, because I was like, wait, I want to be in these races. I want to be doing these workouts, but it's like, I'm just giving them workouts and like basically making them really, really good. And there was still that drive inside of me that I was like, I don't think I'm done competing. And then, so that's whenever I actually moved to Washington and then found MMA and stuff. So it was kind of like a weird fire. So one of these girls, Bill, one of these freak athletes, 5 years ago, she goes into a gym and now she's in the UFC and killing it. Which is wild. I was like on a fast track. It blows my mind. I still think about it every single day. I'm like, how the hell did that happen? So, do you like girls or boys? Or could I ask that anymore? Guys. Okay. So is it one of them? You got a boyfriend, he broke up with you. You're like, I'm getting revenge, bod. You joined the gym. And then, is that what happened? Actually, it's like the opposite. I've always been like, I like guys. Like I like to go on dates and stuff like that, but it annoys me whenever guys are like, why are you always in the gym? Why are you doing this? Like, why can't we go on a date? And I'm like, just like, all right, I don't have time for this bullshit. I just want to be in the gym. And then they get jealous too, because like most of my training partners besides Jen are guys. And then they're like, well, you're grappling with him. And I'm like, it's not like that at all. Like we're training partners. What are you out of your mind? So I have little patience for bullshit. So
I mean, you got to date a fighter, though. Come on. You can't.
Hell no. Those guys are crazy. Fighters are nuts. And there can't be like 2 superstars. You know, like it's such a selfish sport that you have to be like, okay, I've got to take my feelings away. I've got to take my emotions away and help them through their camp and stuff like that. And that's really hard. And so it's like, you can't have 2 superstars in a relationship. I don't know when that's ever worked.
But so you got to. And then you got to be tough enough to be able to beat you up because, come on. You gotta be able to, right?
Okay, so I will say this. I do have like my weakness is like CrossFit guys. Those are my absolute weakness. I like love muscles and all that.
Like man buns too? The man bun?
No. I like short hair. No.
Short hair. Sleeve tattoos. Okay, so you're dating now or you're single?
I'm single right now.
You're single and you're on Tinder or Hinge?
No, I was on Hinge whenever I moved to Dallas, and I went on a few dates and stuff like that, but nothing really stuck. And I was just like, nah, it's not really for me. So I just deleted it, and I was like, I'm off. Let me just concentrate, be all in with MMA and stuff. So,
well, good.
The guys, it'll come.
I mean, you're ripped, you're shredded, you're good looking, you're smart, you're funny. You you're winning now, which is good.
Yes, always a plus.
This is all good. But I do wonder, like where you would meet a guy, because you're in the gym all day. You're not on a dating app. So where do you go? Like Whole Foods, maybe? Or
honestly, it's really hard. Like Trader Joe's, I'm always there. So like, hey, if anybody's around Trader Joe's, like pick me up.
Yeah, I would think Trader Joe's, because if like the gym's off limits, but I don't know if the gym's really off limits, because if you like CrossFit guys and they're at the gym, they just can't be fighters. But then
exactly. And I also have this philosophy where like, don't shit where you eat, because then it gets awkward. And I've seen so many bad situations where girls come in the gym, like sleep with guys, and then it's awkward, and you're just like, this is not what I want. Like, yeah.
I know girls that have almost like closed gym. Like they went to one gym, they fucked like 3 different guys. Then they went to the rival gym, more dudes. And then they went to that, they fucked the training coach. It just kept like, yeah.
It's messy. It's so messy. It's just have that rule. Don't shit where you eat, and you'll be good. You'll be good.
Yeah, no, you're right. But then every girl that says, oh, I would never get a guy at the gym, seems like they're very flirty with the guys at the gym. It's almost like sometimes like almost like they're saying that to themselves so they can say it out loud, but they don't actually believe it. So I don't even know what the situation is. I do know your fight. Talk about your fights. So the second to last fight, you were kind of getting a little lit up
in the first round.
But then you took her down, and then you started beating the shit out of her. And it was one of those things where that's why I thought you were a wrestler. I'm like, this is an Iowa chick who got punched in the head, and is just like, I'm going to take 30 punches, and then as long as I could beat you. That's why I honestly thought I had you totally pegged wrong. But yeah.
That's okay. Hey, if you call me a wrestler, that's the biggest compliment, because I haven't been sitting on my wrestling for very long. But Jen, I feel like, is the best wrestler in the strawweight division, and I work with her on a daily basis. So it's like, whenever I came into Fortis, I just was like, okay, I'm just going to be a little sponge and just soak up every ounce of information that I can, and just be a student and just learn. And I think that's what I've done, and that's why you've seen this like exponential growth from me.
Yeah, Jen's also one of those fighters, I think, that like her record doesn't reflect on how good she is. And the fights that she's lost, it's just like she just got caught. A couple fights she was winning and then just got caught in a submission where it was like, and that was the fight. And Sarah McMahon's like that. I think Michael Johnson's like that. There's a whole like bunch of fighters where their records are just, I don't even know how you teach that as a coach of like, pay the fuck attention. It's like, I don't know if it's ADHD or if people get bored in there or they get comfortable or what, but it's just, see, that's the thing. Like as a comic, I go on for 45 minutes and I could have a bad 2 minutes out of the set or 3 minutes, whatever it is. As a fighter, like you have to be good the entire time pretty much, especially if you're fighting, someone who's a good grappler who could just end it like that, or somebody with knockout power or whatever.
Yeah. And that's funny that you say that though, because that's always been my struggle, is like, I haven't started very fast because I feel like I rely so much on my cardio that it's like an oxymoron a little bit, because it's like, well, if you have really good cardio, you should start really fast because you feel safe in that 3-round fight. But for whatever reason, I am very comfortable with my cardio, but I'm such a slow starter. And then I don't actually start warming up until round 2, 3, 4, or 5. Like after that last fight, I was like
new. You had no amateur background, right? You had one fight or something?
No. I actually had quite a bit. I was 10-0 as a kickboxer. And then I think I was like 4-2 as an amateur in MMA. So I had quite a bit of fights.
So what are you waiting for? This first round?
I know that it's funny you say that because Coach Safe, like he's always in my ass. He's like, what the hell are you hesitating for? Why are you doing this? I'm
you
like,
need
Coach.
you need to get punched in the face hard one time just to wake up.
Bill,
So that's exactly right. Like
Bill,
I feel
more good questions. No, more. I gotta go back. Oh.
Okay.
So it's funny you say that because I am like most comfortable after that first hit. And I'm like, oh, okay. Now I'm awake. Now I'm ready to do this.
I think that's true with a lot of sports. People play football. They always say, once you get that first hit, you kind of wake up, or you play soccer, you get the slide tackle. Like you need something like that. So maybe you need someone to punch you in the face before the fight starts.
I think so. I think Safe would be happy to do it back.
Do you think that the psychological element is the biggest element? Like the missing ingredient in fighters who aren't champions? Is it all psychological? Like 50% of it?
Yes. I would say more than that. I would say like 80% is mental. And so many fighters are, scared to get hit or scared to get punched. And it's like, I love it. I like thrive in that for whatever reason. I've like never done contact sports before. I was always a runner, always playing like softball or something. So there's no contact, but I don't know why. Then I need that switch.
Does the Black Beast train with you guys?
No. He trains down in Houston.
But you have Youssef, right? Sadiq Youssef? Sadiq, no, not Sadiq. Who are some of the guys that train over at Fortis?
No, so like Ryan Spann, Alonzo, Mennefield.
By the way, Ryan Spann, guy, I don't understand this guy. He went to the gym with his brother. His brother boxed, and he would just go hang out. And now he's in the UFC, killing it. Like literally.
Who is this?
Ryan Spann has no background in fighting, like zero background. His brother was a boxer.
Yeah,
like,
it's so funny to watch Ryan spar because he is like the most athletic person ever. Like he'll do like the most wild shit in sparring. You're like, oh my God, that big ass dude is doing all like those super athletic moves. Yeah, it's wild. He does like I don't
understand. He was like 23 and he's like, yeah, my brother was boxing. And I'm like, yo, I could do this. And now he's in the UFC. Beating like fucking high level black belts and he has like one move. He has a couple moves, but his standing guillotine is fucking insane.
Nasty.
And it's one of those things where it's like, if he gets it, you're done. And that's how you want it. He literally said before his last fight, I'm going to hurt him. He's going to take a shot and I'm going to guillotine him. And that is exactly what happened.
It's exactly what happened. Yeah.
Wow.
I know. It's the craziest thing. I mean, yeah.
And then the other guy, Mennefield, who's fighting this week, by the way, he's a guy that literally was in like 9 different group homes with his brother growing up. I don't know if you know this. He probably did. See, this thing, and there was a Christian family from Nigeria took him in. Him and his brother taught him like to read, schools, this and that. And then he was amazing at football. And he got a football scholarship to like a D2 or D3, almost went pro. And then that didn't work out, and they started fighting. And now he's another freak athlete. The UFC doesn't tell any of this fucking. They have an article they'll put about it, and like anyone's gonna read the fucking article. Like it's literally like this is what they should tell people. Like if I
wish that they would say more about that because that is so interesting, and I had no idea about any of that.
And he's the nicest guy ever. And he's one of those dudes. He's one of these guys that I used to watch him in LFA. And it would be like one punch over. Like he has like, he can knock you out with a jab. One of those dudes that like jabs.
That's like Jeff Neal too. Jeff Neal is like that.
Yeah. Jeff Neal's the guy I keep losing money on because like he destroys everybody, but then they keep putting him against karate guys. He can't figure out the karate guys. He loses to like Wonder Boy. And I think he lost to, was it Luke he lost to? Or somebody he lost to that was like, I was like, fuck. Like those are the hardest guys to beat are those guys that are just so they don't engage and they just, if you play their fucking game, you're going to lose. And it's because you can't bring in a guy to do what Wonder Boy does or do what MVP does. I mean, you can maybe bring in a karate guy, but he's not going to do MMA. So it's just, it's crazy. Who else is at Fortis?
Let's see. Who else is there? Uriah Hall.
Dude, Uriah Hall. I've served with all these guys. So Uriah Hall is nice human being.
He's super nice.
Dude,
he's super. Everybody there is so nice, but like once you see him spar, they're just like, bunch of savages. It's awesome. It's awesome. I love that environment because everybody's like smiling and stuff like that. But then once training it like starts, everybody's like, okay.
I felt so bad for Uriah Hall. Me and Uriah are friends, right? He came to my comedy show and he's like, I should be offended by all your jokes, but you made me laugh. Like, I'm like, that's stand-up comedy, dude. Yeah,
that's the best compliment you can get as a comic.
So after the MMA awards, right? And Israel Adesanya won like 10 awards, right? And I'm sitting with Uriah Hall and people keep coming up to him and congratulating him on winning these awards. And he didn't put two and two together. And he's like, why the fuck does everyone keep saying congratulations? And I was like, hey man, like not me, not like, I don't think this, but I think that everyone thinks you're a style bender. And he's the look of disappointment in his face was just like, like I didn't want to.
I would have been pissed too.
It's the haircut. You have the same haircut, Uriah. That's what it is. The haircut.
Oh my God! I felt like I was like, yeah, man. Like I think they think that you're like I was trying to like. I mean, what people? But
saying the best way possible.
Oh, because I was like, I felt bad, but people kept telling them like, and not even like, congratulations on being like, hey, good winning fighter of the year. Like it was specifically, there was no way around what people's intentions were. And oh man, I felt so bad for Uriah Hall that day.
Yeah, you know what? I was really disappointed because the Estella Nunez fight. So my first fight with Fortis, we were supposed to be on the same card, and I was like really looking forward to it. But then he ended up having to pull out of the fight. But I was really looking forward to that. Yeah,
he's a nice guy. He's one of those dudes that like just a real gentle soul, like Uriah Hall. Yeah. You know, just a nice human being. Yeah. I wrote a joke today about how I went to to get my dog groomed and Pat Barry was there. Because you know
I laughed really hard at that.
Yeah, and I'm like Pat and Rose follow me, and I'm like, fuck you. Like it's only a matter. And like I'm friends with like all their Tisha and all that, and I'm like, oh, yeah. You know. But what are you gonna do? It's one of those things. I'm like, it's a good joke, you know. Like one of those things where I'm like, that's the hard part about being friends with people, and then writing funny jokes is like, so you're like, man, the joke has to be funny. Where like I think if he saw that, he would be annoyed but laugh. Yeah. If people could be annoyed and laugh, that's
and it's a win. It's a win.
It's a win. It's a win.
I'm really tired of like I love comedy. Like I'm always watching stand up and stuff like that, either on Netflix or finding stuff on YouTube. And I'm just so annoyed with like people that get so sensitive about jokes. And it's like this. You understand? Like you came into this that like they're jokes, whether they're it's all jokes. It's okay. It's gonna be okay.
It used to be like people would get like offended that they weren't offended. Now it's to the point where like, I'm going to tell you how to do your job. And wait a minute. That's not how this goes, Right. But I just, whatever. I had a woman one time making a complaint at the Laugh Factory, and they go, oh, I thought he was going to be like Ellen. And I'm like, well, because I have the same fucking hair. Like, why would I possibly like be like they really said I was going to be like Ellen. I'm like, first of all, if I was like Ellen, I would shit on everybody. It's always the nicest people that like you think are the biggest assholes behind the scenes. Like I had heard Ellen for years. I heard she was a tyrant. And somebody a comic said it on Howard Stern, and then got like a letter saying they're going to be sued. Oh, like because he worked for them, and he said that she's horrible. She adopts dogs and gives them back when they pee. Like it's one thing after another. Just like the worst thing I've ever heard. Yeah, and then he said it on Howard, and then people were like, he got like, by the way, you're going to be sued for $20 million if you don't detract these statements and this and that, and yada, yada.
Damn. By the way, real quick caveat on that. When I was at the Laugh Factory 10 years ago, this guy was this group of like 12 people. I go, are you guys work together? I go, yeah, we're part of a group. I'm like, what's your group? He goes, it's called After Ellen. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, we're all people who used to work for that fucking bitch, Ellen DeGeneres. We all get together every Friday and hang out and tell stories. I couldn't believe it. This was like 10 years ago. But I was like, yeah, After Ellen. There's a whole group in LA called After Ellen. It's like 30 people.
Is it like public? Did they tell these stories to like an audience, or is it like closed? Because I would love to go see that.
It was. I mean, maybe they're open now, but it was a closed group at the time.
Oh, okay.
No, there was a comic I used to open for who was like happy dad, married guy on TV. He like he was on an NBC show where dude was like, literally would ask me, hey man, can I use your room to go fuck a prostitute? My wife's been coming onto the hotel. Like the worst, like coked out of his mind. Just like the worst.
God.
Yeah, and
I can't wait for you to tell me who it is after the podcast, Adam.
And then my jokes were all about like, banging strippers. And I was like loyal fucking comedian, guilty kid. It was like complete opposite of what you thought on stage.
Yeah.
That happens all the time. I mean, I know so many comics, and so many times I would love to be like, hey, you're the biggest asshole in the fucking world. And everyone knows it. But I'm like, you don't actually win by tearing anyone else down. So fuck it. Right.
Yeah.
So Sam, who do you want to fight next?
Man, that's a good question. I don't know, but it's funny because I've already been, off of fight week for like 2 weeks now, and I've already got the itch again. I'm like, okay, I was going to enjoy some time and just train and stuff like that. But now, like, I'm like, okay, who am I going to fight? I don't know. But I think safe is just like, okay, let's just take this time and build a little bit more. And then maybe by the end of the summer, maybe early August, hopefully sooner than later. But yeah, I definitely do want maybe like 2 more fights this year. That would be amazing.
Did you see this guy's fight, Eryk Anders?
Yes. You know what? So it was funny because, hey, Eryk, how's it going?
What's going on?
I was just about to say we were on the same flight whenever we came back from Vegas to Dallas. So that was pretty cool. That was like the first time I've ever like actually talked to you in line or whatever.
He had anal leakage from getting fucked so hard by the judges. I don't know if you saw that. But anyway, Sam, you're the best. Where can people follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Sam Hughes MMA.
Thank you so much, Sam. Take care.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on.
Anytime. So we got Eryk Anders here. Oh, I think I pressed the wrong thing. It says I'm supposed to. I'm like reporting her. Anyway, so Eryk Anders is here. Don't report. One of my friends, badass fighter, national champion football player, a guy who won his fight. I don't care what anybody says. He won that fight. How you feeling, Eryk?
I'm good. Back on the horse, training, getting ready for the next one, keeping it moving.
Do you consider this about a loss or no?
My paycheck reflects so yeah, it's no.
Now, you definitely, I thought you won 2 out of 3 rounds, arguably won 3 rounds. You went for the like 75 takedown attempts. Did someone have a bet with you? They're like, hey, I bet you can't do 100 take. Did you learn wrestling last week or something? It seemed like you were like, that was your new toy. And you're like, fuck it, I'm going to go for takedowns. Were you trying to tackle the guy? Like, what?
Man, I was really just trying to control the fight. I really wasn't. I wouldn't consider those takedown attempts just because I grabbed the guy's legs, just kind of trying to control distance. And, he was, not moving backwards a whole lot. So we were pretty close. So, I was trying to put him on the cage a little bit, beat him up.
Ask some questions, Bill.
Yeah. All right. So what is your fight background? I don't know. I've just met you. So.
Man, I don't have one really.
You were a football player first, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm just kind of like a brawler, who's learning how to fight,
Yeah. So what was your first transition from football to what? Like you went to kickboxing or Muay Thai or?
No, I actually tried jiu-jitsu first, and it.
Oh shit!
But he wasn't a footballer. He was a national champion in Alabama. This dude has a fucking ring. He was one of the best. There's pictures of him with the whole squad. Celebrating. I mean,
so what happened? Did you get in a fight in a parking lot one day and someone choked you out? You're like, I want to learn that shit.
Not really. That did happen though, to be honest. I got like a big I really found MMA just because I was just bored, frustrated, and wanted to blow off some steam. So I walked into the gym, started training to fell in love. But I remember one time I got in it was like a big 30-person brawl in a parking lot, and this big muscle dude, he didn't jump on my back, but he was behind me. He like grabbed me around the neck, and he was like, chill out. And I tried to flex and bust out, and I was like, oh shit, I'm stuck. And I was like, all right, I'm cool. And he let go, and I ran back in the fight, and that was kind of like my first experience with. We really wouldn't call it jiu-jitsu, but kind of getting choked out.
By the way, Eryk,
Yeah.
my daughter's home sick, so I had to change I had to put on the cartoon. That's why I left for a second.
Daddy daycare, huh?
She's like, my cartoon ended on Netflix, so I have to. Anyway. By the way, no, here's what happened. So he was a stud. He was obviously one of the best football players in high school and college. Then he didn't make the NFL. He tried out for the CFL. He played like one game in the CFL. It didn't work out for him. Then he's back home working for UPS with his girl, who's this hot Brazilian, who's like, you know what? I'm gonna marry this fucking stud football. I can't let him be this guy. So he's getting fat. He lives in South Carolina, putting boxes away. It's like, fuck this. He joins the gym, and Walt Harris is at the gym. Walt Harris beats the living fuck out of him for day one, fucking sparring, beats the shit out of him, right? And he's like, I can't let this fucking huge black guy fuck me up. I got this. Then he goes back. He learns jiu-jitsu, learns striking. 6 years later in the UFC. Am I right? Is that sort of what happened?
It's fairly accurate. But I was single at the time, and if I'd have known my wife back then, you know, she probably would have saved me a lot of heartache and
Oh,
you know,
so your wife wasn't with you when you were working at UPS.
No, well, I was working at I was a customer service representative working in an office, making like $8 an hour. So kind of, but you know, actually UPS would have been a lot better.
His wife is like a Brazilian butt model. She's fucking like jacked. She's totally hot, like, and she's on Instagram all the time. She unfriended me. I don't know what happened, but I still follow
her.
She
got tired of you sliding in her DM.
Yeah, she got
tired of the dick pic.
Yeah, 100%. Now your last fight was something off because you were hitting them hard. But normally you hit guys, they go down. Were you feeling all? Was that you 100%?
I kind of, man, I just tried like a new strength and conditioning people. You know, I really didn't feel as strong or as powerful as I usually am. I just found out my meniscus is torn again. So, you know, when I'm hurt, I try to like ignore that shit. You know, I just keep telling myself I'm not hurt. It doesn't hurt. And then eventually the pain goes away. But it did not work out that well.
It looked like, honestly, I hate to say it, I gotta be honest. It looked like you were injured a little bit and you were still better than him. That's how good you are. But I could tell something like you were a little bit slower. Something was off a little bit. Am I right?
Yeah. I think that's accurate. I haven't gone back and rewatched the fight or anything. So, but you know, just, you know, when I'm in the fight, I remember thinking that, dude, I've hit him a lot and he's still on his feet. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But that's how good you are. Cause it looked like, I'm like, fuck, I think either today was either off day or he's nursing an injury or a shoulder or something, or then that makes sense with the meniscus. You couldn't get full fucking, you couldn't, you know.
I mean, I felt good, you know, outside of like, you know, I felt, I just didn't quite feel as like strong or powerful like I usually feel. But, you know, I was pretty light. So usually I'm like 220, 225 going into a fight. And I just feel like too heavy. So it's hard to move sometimes when you're that heavy. I was only like 215 going in. So, you know, I felt good. You know, I wasn't tired. Just, you know,
well,
it is what it is.
You still won the fight. Even at 80%, you still won the fight. I don't care what anybody says. Now, you training with John Jones and those guys?
When he's in town, yeah.
What's that like?
It's good, man. He's an extremely humble person in person. And he's just willing to, you know, let you pick his brain and, you know, find out what makes him great.
What do you think you can take him?
Dude, if you watch him train in the gym, man, you wouldn't think that's like the greatest of all time, to be honest. But then you turn on like this highlight reel and look at his resume, you'd be like, ooh, yeah, that's the greatest of all time, you know?
Yeah. That's awesome. So he's over at Fight Ready. You're at Fight Ready, and John Jones walks in. Now, is it one of those things where was it like in Rocky when the champ walks in and everybody wants a piece of him?
Nah, everybody knows what's up, man. Everybody's seen that guy fight. They all know what he's capable of. So,
do they have a meeting with you guys? Like, hey, you guys are not allowed to ask him to go party afterwards. Nobody get his number. Did he have people around him to protect him from some of you guys?
He did, not to like protect him from the fighters, because I think fighters are probably some of the most respectful people outside of there's a handful that are assholes, but that's like any demographic. But the number of assholes are way lower, I think, with fighters. So he did have like his strength and conditioning coach was there. I'm not sure like if he was there to police him or what his deal was, but I think everybody was extremely respectful and sat down, like not like intimate conversations, but like, when was the last time you did this? Or when was the last time you did that? And, he said it's been a while and, he's not really into the partying too much anymore.
But good for him. Good for him because he is the greatest of all time. And you want to see a guy like that succeed, obviously. A lot of people say different things. Some people say he's like the most humble, down-to-earth guy. Other people say he's out of control, but who knows what to believe.
When's his next fight? Is it planned yet?
He's supposed to fight Stipe.
In September, right?
Yeah. Man, that's a tough fight for Stipe. I mean, which is crazy because you'd think that the guy, ex-heavyweight champion, would beat the guy at 205, but I don't know, man.
Well, man, the thing is, like, usually when you jump weight classes, it's like a stature issue. I think like the average 85er is, like 6 foot, 6'1", then you go to 205 and they're 6'4", across the board, John Jones is 6'4", so, he can carry the weight well. It's not like he's fat, holding the weight. And he's taller, if not as tall and long as the other guys. So, I think that he'll be able to do damage at heavyweight.
Now, some fights coming up because this is going to come out Monday because I'm on a cruise ship next week working, so I'm going to put this out Monday for this week, which will be the following week. Calvin Katar versus Josh Emmett. Who do you like?
I'm gonna go with Calvin. I think he's like the more skilled fighter, and he's not just looking for that one bomb. But we all know that if Emmett touches you, then that could be the end of the day for you.
Bill?
I mean, I'm just going to agree because I don't know those fighters that well.
All right, Donald Cerrone versus Joe Lauzon.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna go with Joe. I think that actually, let me go with Cowboy because I think like his striking is much better than Lauzon's, and he's good on the ground. So I think that they're both aging fighters, but I think Cowboy's still got it in them.
You, Bill?
I gotta go with Cowboy just for sentimental reasons. I want him to have one good swan song before he leaves.
I think he's gonna fight 2 more times, so he's got this.
2 more times?
More. Yeah, because I think he said he wanted to get to 50 fights, and he's at 48. So.
Well, I like Cowboy, but then the interview he did where he said that when he fought Conor, he just wanted out of there. He's like, I saw an opening and I took it. That bothered me on like 100 levels. Number one, it bothered me because I paid for that fucking fight. About everybody in there.
That's hey, you played yourself. That's where you fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean, well, there was some great fights there, but at the same time, if people come to my comedy show, I owe it to them to give it my best effort. I can't, sure. I'm not going to like, oh shit, I have COVID and walk out. Come on. So I expect the same from Cowboy, even if it's true, don't tell everybody that. Tell everybody that.
Yeah, tell your wife and leave it at that.
Don't even tell. Yeah, right. And then the whole thing with Anthony Smith, are you following that debacle?
What happened?
Anthony Smith was at the fight that he fought John Jones at, which, by the way, like, I think he was like, he had all kinds of injuries going to that fight, Anthony, and then still could have won the belt and like didn't. Yeah. Pretty damn cool of him. But I guess his mom was in the seat, and Cowboy and Dan Bilzerian were drunk and took the mom and kicked the mom out of her seat. According to Anthony Smith, and Cowboy saying it's bullshit. I was in Dana White game that never happened. So now they're going back and forth about him kicking. And
just fight about it. Fuck it, they're 2 fighters.
Right. So Cowboy. The first thing Cowboy said to me when I met him was, "Roast me, I'll fuck you up." Like that was what he told me, and I was like,
really?
Yeah, and I was like, bro, say no more. And then he started laughing, and he was like really nice about it. He came to my show and yada yada. But
he told me to stay black.
Really?
Yeah. He was pretty. It was in Dallas. I think Woodley had fought the British cat for his belt. Darren Till. Yeah. And I was at a bar. Diego Sanchez was there, who is like super weird.
Of course.
Dude. because he was, he had said something to me online about like wanting to train together and this, that, and third, Diego. And then I saw him and I was like, hey, dude, you want to train? He was like, if it's in God's plan. And then just looked at me. And I was like, or if it's God's will or some shit like that. And I was like,
I have a question. How often do the UFC fighters date the ring girls? Is it just Diego? How many ring girls are UFC fighters?
Cerrone too. Cerrone too. I think it was more back in the day. I think it was more back in the day when it was. But dude, I got off a plane one time in Toledo, Ohio, and there was nobody in the airport. And I just tore my ACL like 3 days before that, and I was in denial about it. And I got off like 3 flights, which you got to sit like. And the only person in the airport was me and Diego Sanchez at baggage claim. And I was like, I thought I was like dreaming. I'm like, I think I took an Ambien. Like I thought this was like an Ambien fucking whatever. I'm like, Diego Sanchez, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, I'm speaking at the church tonight with Vitor Belfort. They hired us to go speak at. I can't think of 2 guys like who should not be like. I mean, what church? I wish they had video of that church. Like,
you should have went. You should have canceled all your plans. Be like, dude, what? I'll be there. I have to find out what you guys are going to talk about.
So Kevin Holland, which by the way, somebody said he must have one of those like police things where he goes and like, because this is the third thing that like, all right, so Kevin Holland,
he might be setting that shit up himself.
So there was a gunman that like was going to kill 30 people and he tackled the guy, right? Which I wrote a joke. It was his first takedown. And then he got mad and I had to like apologize to him. And like, he's like, nah, I guess we're cool now. I guess. And then something else happened. Somebody was stuck under a bridge or under a truck and he lifted the truck last week. Like,
yeah. I'm like, dude, when I heard that, I was like, dude, he got to be setting that shit up, dude. He's calling these people, be like, hey, I'll give you the bag if you come and I'll beat you up or whatever. I'll pay for your lawyers or something, dude. I'm like, God damn.
So he's fighting Tim Means, by the way, who once passed out in like a sauna. And I made like 8 jokes that and someone wrote sauna on his like wiki page, like he lost to like
losses.
Yeah, he lost to a sauna. He also went to jail one time, and he said that the guys would masturbate, that they would put like something in their door, like a towel in the door, to let other prisoners know, like, hey, don't go in. By the way, Mayhem update. People ask about Mayhem. He's in jail. He's looking at a couple of years right now. But I think he might join the fire department in jail. I guess they have a fire department for prisoners.
Really?
And then you get time and a half to learn to become a fireman. So that's good.
Good for him.
Back to Kevin Holland versus Tim Means.
You were rehabilitated.
Tim Means, Kevin Holland. It seems like Kevin Holland his Achilles heel is wrestling. Tim Means is a wrestling coach, but he's not really. He just gets in these fucking wars all the time, which would only, I think, favor Kevin Holland. So I'm picking Kevin in this fight. Eryk, you?
Yeah, I'm going with Kevin Holland, man. He's the younger guy. He throws like volume. So I think he'll be able to keep Tim Means off. But Tim Means is crafty, dude. Don't get it twisted. But I think that Kevin Holland just has that pop. He's putting cats out at 85. Probably do the same at 70.
Right. Yeah. This is also, Tim Means is also long in the tooth, as they say it. It's not his prime, but I hope he wins. Joaquin Buckley, who hates Kevin Holland. He said that I know who Kevin Holland really is. So now they don't like each other. Joaquin Buckley.
I don't think he likes many people. I always hear him beefing with like James Krause, Kevin Holland, and a few other cats. So I think that he just may not like a lot of people.
Well,
maybe that's how he wants to get press and publicity.
I think he was looking for sparring partners, and he put like an ad out on Facebook, like, I'll give anyone $1,000 to spar with me, like anyone. Which like, is that the best way to find? I mean, that seems like
probably try to find another professional to spar with.
He's fighting
any junkie will take that.
Yeah, right. Number one, but also people don't want to, like, you can get hurt, or someone goes for a leg lock, or people with nothing to lose, kind of a thing. So he's fighting Albert Duraev. I don't know anything about Albert. Do you? Okay, so we'll skip that one.
No.
Julian Marquez, who is a good guy. He has a podcast with a porn star who loves fighting. What's her name?
Kendra.
Yeah. Kendra Lust, who's very hot. I don't think Julian fucked her. Which, come on, dude, like, step it up. But that's, I guess.
Well, I mean, He did have a shot with Miley Cyrus and he fumbled that. So
Oh shit.
He completely fumbled it. Dude, this fucking idiot, right? After it was Valentine's Day, after he wins this fight, he goes, Miley Cyrus, I want to be my Valentine, right? So Miley responds, right? Hey, shave your beard, and it's a date. I call him. I'm Julian. Hello, dude. She fucking responded. Who? Miley Cyrus. You fucking moron. No, she didn't. Right? She did, right? And then he goes, I'm not shaving my beard. He goes,
I think he just had to shave her initials in his chest hair.
oh, right. Shave her initials in his chest. Yeah, right. He had to write MC in his chest.
I'd have made that shit in cursive. Fuck it. Boom, calligraphy.
What a fucking
what language
idiot.
do you want?
I mean, talk about like, that's the guy who's like, gets the hot chick and she spreads her legs and then he leaves the room. Like, what the fuck was he thinking? Like, right? I mean, he called her out. Like,
So they never had the date, huh?
never had the date. And he
I did it that night.
that could have like, he could have got so much money and sponsorship or this and that. That could have helped him. Yeah, dude, what is he doing? Darren
is his celebrity girlfriend.
Fucking Darren Wynn, by the way, is fighting Phil Hawes. This should be a good fight. So Darren Wynn is like Cormier's favorite fighter. He looks just like, he's like short, fat, black, and little hands. But he's an amazing wrestler. The guy could just throw you on your front. Like he's one of those guys that just like everything that you think is like, this guy's not going to be the best athlete. And he is the best athlete.
Yeah.
He's fighting Phil Hawes. Should be a good fight. Who would like in that fight?
I'm gonna go with Deron Wynn. I think it's wrestler versus wrestler. He's definitely got the stamina. Phil Hawes kind of shows that he'll get tired over, the course of a fight. And I think that he's just gonna keep pressing the action, and he can take a shot too. So I'm gonna go with Deron Wynn.
Also on this card, Tony Kelly, who he's the guy everyone got mad at because his girlfriend Andrea Lee was fighting a Brazilian. And he's like, they're a bunch of cheaters. You knew they were going to cheat. They're fucking Brazilians. Eryk, you having a Brazilian wife? Did your wife get
this is a strike too. And it's not really on her on this one, but I think her picker was broke. Like all the guys that she goes with, they do some outlandish, crazy. The other dude is clearly like racist. He had like neo-Nazi tattoos. I don't know them, but
yeah.
I've been in the locker room with Tony Kelly. Like he didn't seem
He's a good guy.
To mind Brazilians, but what he said was a little
Brazilians
could be taken out of context.
He basically said that they're a bunch of cheaters. I mean, they're dirty cheaters, which I don't know. I mean, I think he was just trying to fire her up, but
sure.
You gotta whisper this shit. Like,
yeah.
First of all, I mean, maybe that's not the thing you want to fire her up, but if you're gonna say it, like, hey, don't you're being filmed. Right. I mean,
or he said he was just talking about like her specifically. So, I think maybe he could have worded it like
he knew she was going to be a cheater.
Your Russo was, a dirty cheater or whatever. Then,
right.
I think it's okay. But if you single out a whole like ethnic group, then or race of people, then it's not a good look. Not a good look.
No, not at all. Not at all. All right. So finally, we got the Killer Gorilla, who you train with, right?
No, he trains at the lab. I'm training Fight Ready.
UFC 276, by the way. We're skipping to July 2nd. He's fighting Israel Adesanya. The guy looks huge right now. I mean, I saw a picture. Yeah. Definitely muscular. And obviously, that doesn't always necessarily translate to being a great fighter. But I didn't think he was going to win versus a lot of his fights. I didn't think he was going to beat Derek Brunson. And I think Derek won the first round, right? And then he just came out and just almost murdered him.
The thing is with that dude is, man, he used to be a heavyweight, be a heavy guy. So, that power, like you keep that as you move down. The problem is I think that nobody manages range better than Adesanya. So I think, his arms are like deceptively long, but I think he's going to have a hard time closing the distance against Adesanya.
Have you trained with him?
No, neither one of them. Never.
By the way, so I don't know if you know this, Bill. So Arizona, for some reason, is like the mecca of fight camps. Okay?
Crazy.
It's all cougars, swingers, and fight camps.
That's what brings the fighters, right? Like shit.
Dude, and they all go from like Fight Ready, which is like him, Cejudo, the Pitbull brothers, John Jones, the Korean Zombie, like these like studs, and this guy Eddie Cha, who used to be over at the Fight Lab, which has the Killer Gorilla, Sean O'Malley, a bunch of other guys that are really good. And then there's another one of like Ryan Bader's camp, which
Power, I think it's called.
Power MMA. And then O'Malley has his own camp in his garage, sort of, and they all like get mad at each other and leave camps and then go to the other camp. Not all of them, but enough of them are like they go back and forth. It's the weirdest. It's like 400. Like if you're going to be a fighter, go to Arizona because go to Scottsdale, Arizona, because there's so much talent in that situation. It's better than Vegas. I don't think there's a better place for fighters to be than Arizona. It's all hot chicks, super hot. People don't get tired because it's 125 degrees in there, and fighters. Am I right, Eryk?
Yeah, it's pretty accurate.
It's insane.
Do they have like Oprah school where two schools like they fucking hate the other school, or our fighters get it?
I think what he asked is, you guys ever like Dojo Storm?
No, I think the fighters get it. As far as I know, like I hang out with some cats from the lab, like Casey Kenny and like Dakar Close. Like I think they, it is what it is, and business is business, and the coaches have their thing, and then the fighters do their thing.
He keeps going back and forth, Dakar. He keeps like leaving. He's like, I'm leaving and going to that, and then he I'm taking my girl with me, and then to go back and Dakar is awesome. So is Casey Kenny. The funniest is when she fought Felice Herrig and they both fingered each other, like not like gave each other the middle finger. It was two hot chicks giving each other the middle finger in the middle of the octagon. It was hilarious. Sean Strickland, who got kicked off Twitter for going off on transgenders, saying some pretty out there outlandish shit.
Yeah, but I thought Elon Musk bought Twitter and he was going to let people have freedom of speech, man. What's up? What's going on with Elon?
He hasn't bought it yet.
He hasn't bought it yet. And some of the stuff was like, some of the stuff was a little bit like, all right, dude. What do you think about Sean Strickland?
There's definitely never a secret to what's on his mind. And I think that you can respect that. I think that's to be appreciated.
He's fighting Alex Pereira, who's the one guy who knocked out Israel Adesanya in kickboxing.
Man, if there is somebody, I think he's like way better than he looks. Like if you watch him on TV, you'd be like, man, you could probably hit that dude, beat him up, take him down. But dude, he really doesn't get hit flush. Like he does a good job, like shoulder rolling and throwing in combination. So, man, we'll see. I don't know. I don't know. It's the favela versus the trailer park, so we'll see what's up.
You're right, 100%. I can't wait. This whole card's good. Lauren Murphy, Misha Tate, O'Malley versus Pedro Munoz, Uriah Hall versus Andre Muniz, Jessica Ai versus Macy Barber, Barma Barrena versus Lawler, Bobby Green versus Jim Miller. I mean, this is a Jalen Turner versus Brad Riddell. This is a fucking stack card. So, it's great. Well, Eryk, where can people find you, support you?
You can get at me Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Eryk Anders, ERYKANDERS.
Now, are there new T-shirts? Because I wore my your boy shirt, dude. It got to the point where he was like, "You want another shirt?" That's how much I was wearing it. He asked me if I want another shirt. Like that's when I'm like, I'm not wearing.
Hey, I'm just chasing that clout, man. I know you got the followers, man. And the shirt, where you get it at?
Do you have any more shirts coming out, or do you have a new shirt I can get?
I usually drop them when I have a fight coming up, but so for the next one I will, for sure. Nice. I'll get you one, don't worry.
Come here. Say hi to Eryk and Bill. Why not? TV? Okay, I got it. Well, listen, you guys are the best. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Eryk. Have a great upcoming week.
Hey, appreciate it, brother. Take care.
Anytime.